Yo. Episode 133 of the Collective Podcast. I am AC from LA, and he is SG Trilogy. Shout out to my guy, Samuel. We are back once again, live and direct. And we are happy that you are with us, whether you are watching or listening or doing a combination of the two. Thank you. Sam. Why don't you tell us how your week was and then tell them where they can find us.
Brother, good morning. We are here live and direct, as you've said, for episode 133, and I'm excited, man. It's been a phenomenal week. Man, I've had a series of phenomenal weeks, so I can't complain at all, man. My family's doing well. Checked on my friends. My friends are doing well, and we're moving in the right direction, man. So, also a great week for sports, man. As a person who loves college basketball, men's college hoops, for me specifically, it's been the week of the upset. So we're definitely going to tap into that today to talk about a lot of the upsets that took place, along with some key marquee matchups for today, man. And just riding the wave, brother. How was your week?
My week was phenomenal. Thank you for asking. It is one of the weird weeks for me, or the weird time of year for me, because there's the intersection of college basketball and college lacrosse for me. Hence, today I've got college lacrosse, and then I shoot to a college basketball game. So having them on the same day is kind of dope. But the week was great. Yeah, no complaints at all. A great week for sports. I was able to just kind of sit back and not say much about football, and then let people get mad at me just for being silent as it pertains to the NFL, because I'm not saying anything, but I guess just the idea that they know who my squad is, that they got something to say. So very interesting. A whole bunch of people who historically support the Raiders, not you, are now supporting the Chiefs, and that's weird for me, because Samuel would never. He would absolutely never. He'd rather just be quiet. But it's funny. So yeah, I had a great week. Why don't you do that?
All right. Well, good morning once again. We're happy that you joined us this morning. We have a saying here around the Collective Podcast that Saturdays are always best when you connect with the Collective Podcast, and we truly believe that. So in order to remain connected, there are quite a few different ways that you can do so. You can go to our official website, which is the collectivepodcastofficial.com. On YouTube, on Twitter or X, and on Instagram, we are TC Pod Official. On Facebook, we are TC Podcast Official. On Instagram, he is AC from LA. And yours truly, I am SG Trilogy. Thank you for rocking with us this morning.
Yes.
New Collective Podcast.
Thank you. All right.
New Collective Podcast.
Yes. Give me that loop.
New Collective
Give
Podcast.
me that loop.
New
All right.
Collective Podcast.
That's the last one. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and kick our topics for today. I know you guys stay in suspense wondering what our topics will be. And it's actually kind of funny to me. Hold on a second. It's actually kind of funny to me that you may actually, I'm joking, but you may actually think that the topics are the same, but then we always throw you for a loop when we get down to the culture, because you just never know what music Sam's bringing in. You never know what I may be bringing into the culture. And then, of course, we bring you Tech Talk Now. And so when we bring you to the end, then, you wind up in a place you didn't know you'd be. Or you knew you'd be there, but you didn't know what you would be experiencing. That's how I should say it. That being said, let me go ahead and share the topics with you guys right now. Topics! All right, so we'll start off with the league. Then we'll go to the association. And then, as Sam mentioned, we're going to get real hyped about college basketball. Then we'll get into the culture. Then we'll get into Tech Talk Now. And then Sam and I will both close out. So, that being said, without further ado, we're going to dive into the league. And we're going to go ahead and let Sam kick it off. So, Sam, why don't you tell us about the NFL? And I'll just fill in the gaps.
You'll fill in the gaps. Okay. So as we kick things off, let's start off with my beloved AFC. So in the AFC Championship game, we had the Chiefs of Kansas City versus the Ravens of Baltimore. And throughout the season, the Ravens have been extremely high amongst the rankings, amongst the power rankings, and amongst many of the NFL pundits. They felt that this was the year that Lamar Jackson would get over the hump, win the MVP, and perhaps even come close to winning the Super Bowl. Well, the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes had different plans for the Ravens. And by far, the Ravens looked discouraged. The Ravens looked disappointed. The Ravens looked dejected. The Ravens looked just let down completely.
New SG trilogy.
Just looking at their body language, looking at their speed, looking at their lack of composure. And so that game ended up being a 17-10 victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. I didn't expect it. And I was actually hoping that the Ravens would fare well against the Chiefs. But the Chiefs are going to do what the Chiefs do. And when things are close, the Chiefs typically figure out a way to pull things out. And that is exactly what happened. So, Lamar, maybe you will win the MVP. Who knows? You know, NFL Honors is coming up not too long, I think this upcoming week. And so, yeah, maybe you'll win the MVP. But hopefully you've already booked your vacation because it's a wrap for the Ravens. You have anything to chime in with as it pertains to the AFC?
Yeah. I mean, it seemed kind of familiar. Listen, I did feel Kansas City would win, but it was more so about, I just feel like people, and I'm not talking about Sam, I feel like people can't decide how they feel about Lamar Jackson. On the one hand, they say, oh, he's not delivering when it counts. And then it's like, he beat us, so let's give him that. He and his team beat us. And no, I can't take anything from that. It looked like it was going to be much of the same when you go to the early part of that game where we tackled Lamar Jackson in the end zone for its safety. But it was Brock Purdy's worst game, and it was bad for the 49ers. And then we wound up losing by 14. Now, I told Sam after that game, I was very encouraged, and I said, now I know we're going to win the Super Bowl because that's the AFC's best. And they had a perfect game, and we had our worst game, and they beat us by 14. So that's what I told Sam. And so the interesting thing about it is when you go into that Christmas Day loss and you feel encouraged, then you know you may have something. But after that, it's like, who's the MVP? Is it first of all, I'm glad that we shut the Tua talk up quite some time ago. But then it became, is it Lamar? Is it Brock Purdy? And then Dak was still in the discussion, right?
Who?
But Dak.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. That was wrong. That was wrong. I'm sorry.
I know the Cowboys stopped playing like a month ago, but back like a month ago, he was still in the discussion. And then even Christian McCaffrey. But so at some point, they started saying the presumptive MVP, his new name was the presumptive MVP, Lamar Jackson. And I'm like, well, what? Y'all got insiders? Like, what happened? You already know the vote? And if you do, then just call him the MVP. So it became weird. And it was like, Lamar Jackson is the savior. And Brock Purdy is trash. And I know that we're talking AFC and NFC, so I'm going to stay with the AFC. My whole thing was I want Lamar Jackson to win. Not necessarily win a football game, but just win, right? Because when you talk about football games, whoever won that AFC game was going to play the winner of the NFC game, right? So, again, I wasn't cheering for anyone and then you have two black quarterbacks in the game. So it was a lot. But for me, when people said, "Well, look what they did to Houston," and I said, "Yeah, they won a divisional round game for the first time in Lamar Jackson's career. So let's take one step at a time. That's the biggest win in his career. Why are you expecting him to do it 2 weeks in a row?" And I was just being realistic. And then when they started talking about my guy, I was like, well, he won that same game 2 years in a row. So he's 2 for 2. Why are we throwing this guy away? And it is tough because it's a white quarterback and it's a black quarterback. But anyway, then I said, also Patrick Mahomes is on the field. So just remember that. And so I was not surprised. I also made sure that I didn't cheer one way or another. But I did actually leave that AFC game very encouraged if the 49ers won. But if Detroit won, I definitely felt like Kansas City will put hands on Detroit. So that's what I have for the AFC game. I was not surprised. I do feel like Lamar Jackson should be celebrated for winning the divisional round game. And I feel like it was unreasonable for people to expect him to have 2 big playoff wins in a row when he had 0 in his whole career going into last weekend.
Okay, fair enough.
Expectations.
Fair enough. All right. So now let's shift over to the NFC, where you had the 49ers of San Francisco, or 49ers of the Bay Area. Let's just say
That's what
that.
we're doing? That's what
Collective
you said the Bay Area.
podcast.
Okay. I thought you
There we
were.
go. The
All right.
49ers of the Bay Area against the Lions of Detroit.
Well,
Well,
they're in Pontiac, so
yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, of the Detroit area, there we go. The thing that stands out for me is Dan Campbell, Lions head coach Dan Campbell. He would make for a great Pop Warner coach, make for a great college coach, because he is really crafty and tricky, but sometimes his inability to make the logical decision for me is interesting. So if you guys don't know, stat wise, the Lions, when they are faced with fourth down, more than 50% of the time they will go for it on fourth down, as opposed to kicking, punting, going for a field goal. And so there were two questionable series in which he decides we're going to go for it and we're going to flex our muscle, but yet their muscles were met with more muscle, and therefore it didn't work. And that, at the end of the game, was the game, because he decided to go for it. The Lions did the same thing against the Cowboys, where they could have conceivably won that game against the Cowboys that went into extra or overtime. But due to the fact that Dan Campbell wanted to flex on fourth down, it ended up not faring well for him. So in this contest, we ended up with the Niners victorious 34 over the Lions 31, and the Lions' hopes for making it to the NFL elite, perhaps acquiring a trophy, their first trophy, has yet become a dream deferred. Speak on it. Speak on those Niners and Lions, brother.
Yeah, so just one point of clarity. It was a 2-point conversion against Dallas. It wasn't.
There you go. There you go. Okay, yeah.
So it was something, should you kick it and tie the game, or are you're going for the win, right? And so if you don't get it, then you lose officially, right? So it's very interesting. And Sam had me over here dying talking about
AC from LA.
he'd make a great he'd make a great Pop Warner coach. So for me, again, like, let's give Dan Campbell, just as we're giving him to Lamar, let's give Dan Campbell his flowers for the 3 years that he's been there and has completely changed the culture of the Detroit Lions. They are hard hat, blue collar, like they embody the spirit of that area. Like you could see those guys going to Ford to go to work, right? Or is it General Motors? Whatever, General Motors. And
That's
both,
Ford. That's Ford there.
yeah, it
But
was
both of
Ford.
them. But Ford
Literally,
owns it.
it's the Ford family, right?
Right.
But the funny thing is, I just always with the Motor City, I always thought of GM. But yeah, so it's Ford. Um, it's an interesting thing because they're not in the NFC Championship game if he's not Riverboat Dan. And so I actually don't care, but since we're talking about it, I implore people to think about it like that. Like this is who he is. This is the persona that he has embraced. This is the persona that Detroit, Michigan, Pontiac, Michigan, Auburn Hills, they have embraced this persona as someone that they want to lead them and continue to lead them. And so it wasn't surprising. Also, it wasn't like the Cowboys game in that it was a 2-point conversion where you're going for the win or the loss as opposed to going for the tie. This was two fourth down attempts, and by the way, there were three of them. And so let's give him all of his due, right? If we're gonna throw down on him, then let's make sure that we big up him. So the third one they got, right? So the third one they did actually score um, to cut the lead to 3. Now the interesting thing is they were up by 17, which was just like it seemed insurmountable. And then not only did the 49ers walk them down, but then the 49ers went up by 10. And then just like it was a 27-point swing because the 49ers scored 27 points in a row. But I think that when you look at the analytics of it all, both of those fourth down attempts were 50-50. So it's just about, what do you do with it? And I know that people are saying that's the game, but I feel like that's unfair because Brock Purdy and them walked them down. And the defense did things to, they said, why'd you stop running the ball? Well, the first run of the second half was a fumble. Tayshaun Gibson Sr. popped that ball out, and the 49ers went down and scored again. So they scored a field goal, and then they scored a touchdown. And just like that, they were only down 7. And so I also want you to remember that Moody missed a field goal at the end of the first half. So things happen. It's not just Dan Campbell. It's not just those fourth downs. So many things happen for this to be the result. And most of it is actually about the 49ers because it was looking like the 49ers were going to do whatever they needed to do to win this game. And I want to throw this out there too. The 49ers have a 10-point lead at the end of the game, and they're basically playing prevent defense, and Detroit wound up scoring that touchdown. Had Dan Campbell kicked one of those field goals, the 49ers would have played different defense down the stretch. And so there would have been likely been more of a spread here. So I know that we're saying, oh, one field goal, and look, it would have been a tie. It's not that simple. Also, he probably would have gone for 2 if he would have scored that touchdown. But it's not that simple because Moody missed a field goal also. So I just wanted to say that. But the other thing that I want to point out now that Sam has said Kansas City wins close games, and they did win a close game against us in the Super Bowl 4 years ago. In the Shanahan era, the 49ers did not win close games that they trailed in the fourth quarter. Oops! 2 weeks in a row in the playoffs. Yeah, so it's a different story now. It's a different outlook. I think Steve Wilkes is going to show you guys his mettle. He obviously did it in the second half, but he's going to show you, what he's got planned for Kansas City. And I believe that by and large, the better team will win. And the 49ers are the better team. And if you don't believe me, just look at the line. The 49ers are still favored. So just throwing that out there. In case you didn't know, the Super Bowl is next Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Mountain, 5:30 p.m. Central, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And the Chiefs will be considered the home team, and the 49ers be the road team. What you got, brother?
On GP, as it goes back to what you said, you've seen other members of the AFC or AFC fandom who now are rooting against the Niners. It's no way on this earth that I could root for Kansas City to win a Super Bowl at the home of the Raiders. So it is no that for me is blasphemy. Like, huh? Why would you, as a Raiders fan, why would you root for the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Niners?
You
Yeah,
hear that, Thomas Crash Murphy?
yeah, I couldn't do
Um,
it.
from the Bay, you hate the 49ers because you from the Bay. I get it. Well, not from the Bay. You moved to the Bay. You from Pasadena. You moved to the Bay, started hating the 49ers. I get it. We talked that whole thing about you guys are at Paradise, Nevada now because you shooting at me talking about Santa Clara, all of that. That's fine. We embrace the Bay. But Sam makes a great point, Raider fan Murphy. This is at Allegiant Stadium. So you want Kansas City to hang a banner there in the Super Bowl ring, the Super Bowl ring of honor at Allegiant Stadium?
Yeah,
You want a
negative.
Kansas City Chiefs
Nah.
banner up there?
Mm-mm. No, 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 no. Yeah, bro.
Come
On
on now.
GP, I can't do it on GP.
I need
All
some.
right, brother. So
Yeah.
there we go. We know we have the Chiefs of Kansas City versus the Niners of San Fran in the big game, brother. So
Yeah.
what do you? I know that you are a Niners fan. Are you predicting it's going to be a close game? Are you predicting it's going to be a blowout either way? What are your thoughts? Or do you steer far from any of that?
Well, first of all, it wouldn't be either way. It definitely wouldn't be a Kansas City blowout. So let's stop the silliness. I think that we've seen that when both teams are at their best, one team is the 49ers are absolutely better than Kansas City. So, and I think that the 49ers have shown up when it counted. And I don't think that the Chiefs have another magic trick in them. So yeah, I do expect it to be relatively close because you rarely do have blowouts in these games. I mean, you have like, oh my goodness, what Doug Williams did to the Three Amigos was just
Oh,
absolutely, you know, absolutely amazing. But yeah, I expect it to be fairly close, within two scores or maybe a two-score game, like, maybe 10 points, 10 to 14. I do expect the 49ers to win, and I expect the 49ers to play mistake-free football and do what they're supposed to do. I mean, they're only favored by 2, um, but they've literally been favored the entire season, even when Philadelphia was undefeated, even when Philadelphia had one loss. And the even with over the Ravens, even when they got those 3 losses in a row, they were then tied with Baltimore for the favorite, and then they walked it back up. So yeah, I don't expect a blowout. That would be disrespectful to Kansas City for me to say that. Do I want that? Yeah, I hate anything that's climactic at this point. I want it all to be anticlimactic. I've um, lost hair. I mean, you see what I went through with this game on Sunday, 34-31. It's a lot, man. And then even the Super Bowl. And then the Super Bowl before that, where we lost to the Ravens in the lights out game, Harbaugh against Harbaugh. Like I think I've been through some things. So I don't want it to be um, down to the wire. I just want the 49ers to step on them. But I'd say within 14 points.
yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm teetering around 10 points, and I think it's going to be whoever makes that whoop, 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 last minute mistake is going to be the one that's sitting on the sidelines with tears. So,
So
mistake free football is a must for you.
so that's the funny thing about Sam, and you guys know this about him. This is how he wants his sports. You hear what he just said? He says 10, but then he also says whoever makes that last second mistake because he wants the game in doubt down to the last drop, and I don't. I don't. Yeah, I love the fact that Tyus Edney went coast to coast against Missouri, to get us to the next level. and then UCLA wound up beating Arkansas in the national championship game. So that was fun. We were down. Tyson Edney goes coast to coast behind the back, lays it up. I don't need that in my life. It's stressful.
What? For the legend, for the memories to say, we came back and we drove that last drive and we prevailed and we rode off into the sunset. What? Come on.
Question.
Go ahead.
Can we say we came back against Green Bay? Yes. Can we say we came back against Detroit? Yes. If we could just say we put our foot on the necks, we put our feet on the necks of Mahomes and Kelsey as payback for 4 years ago when we were outplaying them, and then the game manager was shook. The game manager was shook. Shout out to Jimmy Garoppolo, the game manager. Shook.
Come on, man.
Shook one's part 3. I don't need that.
Come on, man. Come on,
I don't
brother.
need that.
You need, that's what memories are made of. When your team can come. Look, you need to become, you remember the movie Major League with Pedro Serrano? You gotta have the Stones, man. Pedro talked about the Stones, brother. You gotta be ready to come back and have that triumphant victory. Come on.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
You ready? Have you heard of the catch? Have you heard of the catch?
Yes, I know the catch.
Okay. Do you know about John Taylor's catch against the Bengals?
No, I don't know about John Taylor's against the Bengals. No. Break it down.
Yeah, John Taylor got that last second touchdown to defeat.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Have you heard of Dave Roberts?
The
player?
Of course. Yes.
Player?
Yes.
Player?
Come on
game
now.
4. So game 4,
Mm-hmm.
ALCS,
Mm-hmm.
2004, Red Sox Yankees. Red Sox are down 3-0, and they're trailing in that game. Red Sox come back to win game 4. It's now 3-1. They win game 5. That's 3-2. Win game 6. That's 3-3. Win game 7. That's 3-4. I've been through all of the things that are like, wow, this is amazing. But guess what? After going through that, and that was a year after the ALCS, where Aaron Boone hit the dramatic home run in extra. I've been on both sides of this. So when we as Red Sox fans, what I used to be, go into the series against St. Louis, we know it's just going to be a day at the barbecue because all we do is sweep the Cardinals in the World Series. I want to relax in the World Series.
No.
Do I love Mookie Betts' home run?
Yes.
Yes, I do. But I don't need that in my life all the time.
We need it every game. We need it for every big game. We need that.
Against the Rays. I don't need it every time. No, we don't need it for every game.
Every big game we need that.
No, we don't. That's what the sports books want. That's not what we need. But that's fine. I'm gonna take a shot at you right now. I love you, but I'm gonna take a shot at you. You wouldn't understand because you don't have 5 Super Bowls. So all you have is what you have. And so you don't know being on both sides of it because last time y'all won was Jim Plunkett and Tom Flores. All right, no more shots at you.
No, that's that right there.
So Tom Flores had 1 and John Madden had 1. Is that correct?
Man, I'm tired of you, man. 3. We have 3. I'm tired. That right there was.
No, I'm shutting up because you have 3. I'm shutting up.
That was so far out of bounds, and you did that to provoke me on this Saturday morning. And guess what? I'm here for all the smoke this morning because you should not have said that. So don't make me go on the record with my scoring prediction for the Super Bowl, and you get upset and won't text me, call me, nothing. So don't start it today. Don't start talking about my Raiders the Raiders are still a legendary team in the league, regardless of having not won a Super Bowl since the 80s. So I don't want to hear it. You got my blood pressure up now. Come on now. All right, unmute yourself. Come on. You can come back now.
I wanted to play Who Wants Smoke by Nardo Wick, but I couldn't find the church version. So
Well, good. Thank you.
So I refrained from that because boy, Sam would have my right foot if I played the legit version of
Yes.
Who Wants Smoke. Oh boy. That being said,
Thank you, Kay. I appreciate you.
Southside. Uh-oh.
All right, man. Look,
All right.
we've been arguing long. We've belabored this point long enough. Let's go ahead and move over to what do you have? Pro Bowl festivities. What's happening?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a
Bruh,
flag
I don't.
football game, skills challenge. I know somebody doing like gymnastics. He's gonna go backwards over the bar. Guess
Yeah,
what? Guess who won't be participating? The 49ers and the Chiefs. Oh,
me.
you are you are funny. Shout out to K Dixon and the South side. All right,
All right,
so
man. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. All right, let's talk about these new hires. Faces. Let's call this faces in new places. So kick
okay,
things off with faces in new places.
okay. So
New AC from LA.
the Titans of Nashville, Tennessee. See, I'm just
Area.
staying in line with what you're doing.
Yes.
Slash Houston Oilers have hired the former Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan as their head coach. It is. I don't know this. Is he Bill Callahan's son?
That's a good question. I should have looked that up. You're right. I'm not sure. Hold on. You
Okay.
keep talking. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, I'm going to keep talking. Do not disturb for 1 hour. Forgot to do that. Okay, so also the Seahawks of Portland, Oregon. No, I'm just kidding. The Seahawks of Seattle, Washington State have hired Mike McDonald, the former Ravens defensive coordinator, as the head coach.
Callahan is indeed Bill Callahan's son, and he is a alum of your institution. So there you go.
What's up? All right. So when I say former, I think it's very important to know that I mean former because they got a new job. Because we're going to get to somebody who has a new job and they were already a former when they got the new job. I'll explain that when we get to them. So that's it. Like we already gave you all of the other ones. So there were 8 total job openings. 5 of them closed before we talked last time. 2 have closed since last we spoke. And then there's 1 remaining. Do you want to tell them about the 1 remaining, my brother, or you want me to do it?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so Riverboat Ron was, I would say ceremoniously, not unceremoniously, but ceremoniously relieved of his duties in Landover, Maryland / the DMV. The Washington Commanders. The new ownership group gave him some time, and then they decided to move on from him. By the way, Eric Bieniemy didn't get a single job interview. I'm just throwing
Thank you. That's where I was going with it. That makes 0 sense.
Yeah. So, all right. So there we go. They moved on, and then they put together a consulting group, which includes Bob Myers, go Bruins, the former general manager of the Golden State Warriors, and some other people. And then Irv is part of that ownership group, by the way. Magic be touching it. So finalists, sources say, finalists for that job, the current Lions defensive coordinator, who is done for the season because
They're
that's
done.
my dude. That's my dude, Aaron Glenn. I really rock with Aaron Glenn. Okay. Current Lions defensive coordinator, 1 finalist. Current Ravens associate head coach and defensive line coach, who's also at home, Anthony Weaver. I get down with him also. But they're both at home because they both lost last week. So they got extra time to interview. And then Sam's homeboy, former Falcons head coach, fired Falcons head coach, Dan Quinn, is also a finalist for the Commanders job. Why?
As we've talked before, you know that coaching carousel is this big. And some people seem to get right back on the carousel as soon as they are fired, which is ridiculous. Dan Quinn did absolutely nothing for the Falcons. Falcons did not get better at all throughout the season, so I don't understand it.
New SG trilogy.
And that's really the thing. Like, I'm very confused by it, but it keeps happening. Now, here's the interesting thing. What we can say is that we did have 5 jobs that didn't go to retreads this time.
Right.
So,
yeah, fortunately.
I mean, 7 jobs. So we are like all the jobs are people, because the crazy thing is we had someone, and I keep forgetting his name, but he was fired mid-season last year, and he was fired mid-season this year. Why did he get another chance this year? It's not like, see, here's the difference. He got fired for ineptitude. He didn't get fired because Doc Rivers came to town. So that's very different, right? Because I'm saying it's going to be very different for Coach Griffin. It's going to be very different in the NBA. He should be in all of the discussions, upcoming discussions for people who move on from people, right? But this guy got fired for ineptitude, and then he got fired for ineptitude again. And it's like, so he should just be done because he is capital I. And I don't mean Illinois Illini. I mean inept. So there's that. So Commanders finalists, Aaron Glenn, Anthony Weaver, Dan, I lost my lunch, Quinn. All right? Cool.
There it is.
All right. So then we should go on to the association, and that's your bucket because I'm still protesting.
The National Basketball Association. So in order to break down the NBA, I mentioned last week that we're pretty much right around the midpoint of the 82-game season. As opposed to just giving you a comprehensive, long, drawn-out rundown, I wanted to hit the power rankings. And when I talk power rankings, out the gate, the power rankings are those this year that are like, wait, what? Who is number one? So at this point of the season, as of January 29th, power rankings came out, and this is per NBA.com. And the number one ranked on the power rankings are the Los Angeles Clippers, which I thought was very interesting. Since Christmas, the Los Angeles Clippers, record-wise, since Christmas, the Clippers have gone, they've gone 15-3 since Christmas. So they've been playing some lights out basketball, which is pretty impressive, especially when you're talking about the Clippers. I didn't expect it. It makes me sad as a Lakers fan, but hey, shout out. The Clippers are doing what they need to do. Next up on the power rankings, we have Boston Celtics. I don't say that too loud. Boston Celtics with a record of 32-17. They're being led by Jason Tatum with nearly 27 points a game. Let's see. The Nuggets are third on the rankings at 33-16. Fourth, which it seems like they always kind of teeter around fourth, are the Sixers. Now, the Sixers are led by Joel Embiid, who's averaging an astonishing 35.3 points per game. He's currently out because he has a meniscus strain that was suffered this week. But the thing that I find that's pretty interesting with how the league is moving, the direction in which the league is moving, as we've talked before, today's NBA is not the NBA that we grew up on in the 80s and 90s, meaning defense is always an option. And it seems like most teams opt out of playing defense due to how the games are officiated. And I know you're an official, so that can be a point of contention in terms of me saying that. But looking at the draw for the NBA has opted for being high-scoring games where stats seem to be padded. And you have, even looking at, say, the top 5 scoring players in the league, we have like 5 players that are averaging over 30 a game. And so the game has changed tremendously. Night in and night out, you see teams scoring 120 points or more. And you'll even see teams, when those teams win, the score might be 130 to 125. Like, the games are really high scoring. Defense is not the focus. And so, as I said, just looking at the power rankings, the Sixers are coming in fourth, followed by OKC with Shane Gilgeous Alexander, who's averaging 31 a game. Impressive young guard there. After OKC, we have the Milwaukee Bucks at 32 and 16. They're sixth on the power rankings. Of course, Giannis, the Greek freak, is still doing his thing, averaging 31 a game. And then the one that we've seen, Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Timberwolves. A lot of young guys on the team. Talked about last week with Karl Anthony Towns having a 60-point plus outing. And that team is stacked with a lot of young talent. So they're seventh on the power rankings at 34 and 15. Followed by, all right, New Yorkers, get yourselves ready. The Knicks. The Knicks are coming in eighth ranked on the power rankings. It was just announced that Knicks point guard Jalen Brunson is going to he's going to be an all-star this year. And so great young kid there, the son of longtime NBA guard Rick Brunson. He's going to be an all-star. And the Mavericks really dropped the ball letting him get out of Dallas, because that kid is on the rise. Good, confident basketball player, but more than that, his basketball IQ is high, so he pretty much plays mistake-free basketball, doesn't turn the ball over much. Next to Phoenix is ninth on the power rankings. In Phoenix, for me, they'll have spurts where they look great, but then they still look kind of average. They're stacked with Devin Booker, of course, with Kevin Durant, but the Suns. And we'll close out the power rankings with the 10th ranked team as the Cleveland Cavaliers at 30 and 16. So shout out as we look at the top 10 power rankings in the league. Noticeable teams that are not on there, of course, the Lakers, because the Lakers aren't a consistent team, although the Lakers did manage to go into Boston this week and beat the Celtics without Bron or AD, which was impressive because we were able to see Austin Reeves and the supporting cast put something together and let the Celtics have it. You're still on mute.
So does that mean that they can trade both of them and then we get better?
It means that in one person's case, Father Time is undefeated. In the other person's case, I don't know what to say. AD, get some rest, big fella.
Did he have an eyelash injury again?
Man, I think he had a high paper cut strain this week.
Oh boy,
that high paper cut strain can be something. And it was on his shooting hand, so there you go.
That dude with his paper cuts, got to take it back to Anthony.
Oh yeah,
Love Davis. Where the Pelicans play?
New Orleans.
From New Orleans.
Or he's from Chicago. From Chicago. By way of New Orleans, now in LA.
He's from the South. Is he from Southside, K? Oh, I think we should just give him New Orleans. They don't want him in Chicago.
They don't want him. No, get rid of him. Get rid of him. So yeah, man. That is the association for this week.
With a paper cut over here, leaving out the game. When my teammates asking what Tender Love is my nickname, babe.
Oh, the falsetto is classic, bro.
Hey,
oh gosh.
Influenced by the Dream, influenced by Chris Brown. I could bring it every now and again.
That bro got the falsetto. So listen, make sure as you walk out your door today, you're looking around, man. You might be standing at your door like, what was that you was talking about, bro?
he wouldn't be standing. He's injured right now.
Oh, yeah, right. He might be sitting on one of those high chairs on the sidelines.
He's scooting. Woo! We back.
AC from LA, ladies and gentlemen.
We ain't even been nowhere, but we
Oh gosh. All right, brother. Let's go, man. Let's go. What?
LA.
New
Oh,
SG
yeah.
Trilogy.
all right. So let's get to it. Cause ain't nothing to it but to do it. I wanted to do it. Yeah, I want to do it with the graphic. All right, so we're gonna get into women's hoops, women's college basketball. Bang bang. All right, so start off with the top 25. Carolina stood tall after the big win over Louisiana State last week. They stayed number one. UCLA had a tough week last week. So on Monday, they lost to Utah, and then later in the league, ranked to Utah, but then later in the week, they lost to Washington State. So tough week. UCLA dropped from 2 to 7. Kansas State came in and was like, hey, we'll take the number 2 spot. So they moved up 2 spots to number 2. Iowa moved up to number 3. Stanford moved up to number 4. NC State moved up to number 5. As I stated, UCLA dropped. But UCLA dropped even more than Colorado, whom they already beaten. So Colorado is back at 6. Ohio State, the Ohio State University, moved up 4 spots to number 8. Louisiana State stood still at number 9 after the loss to South Carolina. And then Indiana moved up to number 10. If you look at the top 25, there were only 3 teams that didn't move last week. South Carolina, Louisiana State, and Baylor. And let me tell you this. Kansas State lost, Iowa lost, Stanford lost all this week. Stanford lost to the University of Southern California. Not a fan. I think I've heard of them. They are number 15. They will be moving up. Well, as long as they can handle their business against Berkeley, they'll be moving up. Juju Watkins of Los Angeles County out of Sierra Canyon High School, the perennial freshman of the year in the National Collegiate Athletics Association, the whole NCAA. She's already locked up Pac-12 freshman of the year. She might be Pac-12 athlete of the year, depending on how things go. She put 51. She dropped 51 points on Stanford last night. Number 4, Stanford. Number 15, Southern California at number 4, Stanford. Juju shot 14 of 25. So that's over. That's actually, I can just tell you, that's 56% from the field. She also shot 6 of 11 from 3, and she had 11 rebounds. Complete game, and complete waxing of Stanford. They won by 9, but that's in Maples Pavilion. You're supposed to fear the tree. Juju doesn't know about all of that. She's like, I just show up and play basketball in front of a packed crowd. And so that's what she and her team did. They put hands on Stanford. UCLA handled Berkeley, which they were supposed to. Now UCLA will play Stanford tomorrow. So this could be one of the few times in Pac-12 history where Stanford loses 2 games in a weekend. They've never lost to UCLA and USC in the same week. That's actually never happened before. And so now it could happen. And just as UCLA did when it dropped to 5 before, if UCLA gets this win against Stanford, they could be right back up to number 2 again after taking a week off. And that's just how things work at times. Finishing it out, Texas, UConn was on a run, and then they lost to Notre Dame in their building when they were celebrating all of those championships. Texas dropped. Like I said, Baylor stood still. Notre Dame only moved up 1 with the win over UConn. SC dropped because they got swept last week. Louisville moved up. Vatech moved up. Oregon State moved up 7. They were number 25. Now they're all the way up to 18. The Zags dropped. Utah dropped. Listen, Utah can on a good night, on a great night, Utah can beat anybody in the country. maybe except for South Carolina. And I say anybody but South Carolina because they literally beat number 2 UCLA. So UCLA has been the second best team in the country the entire season, and South Carolina just looks different. So they may not lose. They may go undefeated. But Utah is going to be scary for whomever they face because you just never know who's going to show up for them, which team will show up. Syracuse, Creighton, shout out to Creighton for the Big East. West Virginia, North Carolina. North Carolina almost beat NC State this week, but didn't. And so, oh well. And then Princeton. So I mentioned Stanford losing to SC. I mentioned Kansas State losing to Oklahoma. Iowa lost this week. LSU also lost this week. LSU lost to Mississippi State on Monday. So LSU is likely going to drop. I said Oklahoma beat Kansas State. Iowa got a big win. Indiana, UConn, Creighton. So your movement will be up top because I told you who all lost up there. And then Colorado won a close one against Washington State. So we'll see how things shake out. The Pac-12 plays Friday and Sunday, so they'll be back tomorrow. And we'll see what happens with UCLA and Stanford. And if SC holds on against Berkeley, then SC will move up again. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's really a really exciting time for women's hoops. And I know that everyone knows who Caitlin Clark is. And there's a lot of hype around her. And I just want to say this, and I don't normally step up and say anything about any UConn players, but I feel like there is sheer and utter disrespect for so many players that came before Caitlin Clark, who is still playing, by the way. This is the same argument that I've had for LeBron for the last 10 years. They're talking about GOAT this and GOAT that. She got 0 rings. And that's important because so many people have rings, right? Cheryl Swoop at Texas Tech, right? Now, Lisa didn't get any rings, but she's not better than Lisa. Like, stop this. And then we can go to sick-ass Brianna Stewart. You know, she got all 4 there, right? Like, let's just stop this. And I don't normally say anything about UConn. Diana Taurasi, like, let's stop this craziness. Dawn Staley was the most outstanding player of the Final Four and didn't win. This is the GOAT? Caitlin Clark, Juju Watkins, Caitlin Clark. Juju Watkins has the capability to potentially. However, I don't want her to win any championships because she's on the wrong school. But, like, let's stop this nonsense. Celebrate Caitlin Clark, but you don't have to compare her to anyone. Just say she's having a great run. But guess what? I'm just going to throw this at you. She wouldn't be the first one if this happened. She wouldn't be the first one to have a lot of hype and then go to the WNBA and just dissipate. So, like, we don't even know what her game translates to there, even though it's Indiana with the number 1 pick. And I'm sure that Aaliyah Boston will big up her, but they're already on the rise without her. So don't just say that she came in and changed the culture because that won't be possible. I'm sorry. I'm a smile now.
But you also have to realize a couple of things, bro. So we're in a society now in which every conversation is always based, well, who's the GOAT? Who's the GOAT? Who's the GOAT? And I always, when it comes to that argument, I always say, why don't we shift what that sounds like and ask the question, who is the best of this era? Because saying a person's the GOAT, that for me, like when so many people are like, well, LeBron is the GOAT or Jordan's the GOAT or whomever's the GOAT, I'm like, okay, so the 50 or 45 years plus basketball before I was even born, that negates any of that. And I get it. The game has changed. Now everyone will say, well, now the players are bigger, stronger, and faster. So does that mean that Wilt Chamberlain should be, hit all of his accomplishments should be diminished because of the fact he's not playing in the modern day NBA? That for me, man, that's a tough one. And then secondly, as we talk about NCAA basketball intensifying right now, the best thing for me, and it goes back to how I like these teams that are familiar with one another, teams that know one another. So in conference play, you see so many special things because these teams have studied one another. And it always, for me at least, it looks a lot like a game of chess. You're familiar with your opponent, and you may be even familiar with your opponent's style, but then it's the opponent's ability to be able to shift and transform their game in order to overcome. So yeah, it's exciting time, man, in college basketball, bro. And I understand your passion.
Right. And just let me throw this out there. So I coined this term, GOAT, really for LeBron James, just because I got great. No, stop with all this greatest of all time. So to Sam's point, I came up with GOAT, greatest of their era. So if you guys want to do that, then that's fine. But I argue that Caitlin Clark is not the greatest of her era. So we can like argue this down. But let me just give you these ranked matchups that are happening tomorrow before I turn it over to Sam. So we have, like I said, we have UCLA at Stanford. We have number 2 Kansas State, who already lost this week to unranked Oklahoma, playing at number 12 Texas. So that should be a good one. We have Colorado at Washington. That's not ranked. Number 10 Indiana at number 8 Ohio State. That's a pretty big one on the men's side too when that happens. And then yeah, so that's it for ranked. Oh, and I'm sorry, Virginia Tech at North Carolina. That's it for the ranked matchups tomorrow. But that's a big slate of games on Sunday. Lots of ranked matchups. So there's still some movement to happen next week in the rankings. That being said, let me before I turn it over to you, let me bring my guy back because we haven't heard from him in a while.
Loyalty ain't just when it's convenient. Like loyalty ain't when it's convenient. That's why I said what I said. People scream loyalty and loyalty and loyalty, but if he didn't give you that bag, he didn't create that opportunity, would you still be loyal to him? You probably wouldn't. You know what I mean? But it's convenient for you at that time to do so you gonna play your part and play your position.
Yeah, you're gonna play your part and play the position. All right, so drums, please. Go ahead and give us men's hoops. Wait, hold on. Let me actually give you the drums. I gotta give you the drums. Drums, please. All right. Give us men's hoops, brother.
All right. As we enter the world of men's college basketball, there was not much movement as it pertains to the top 25, at least for the top 5 teams in the men's top 25. We tipped things off with UConn ranked number 1 with a record of 19-2. Big ups to the Big East. Coach Dan Hurley has UConn, the defending champs, playing very, very well at this stage of the game as they are deep in the midst of conference play. But as you can see, Purdue is right on their heels, ranked second with a record of 20-2. There is going to be some movement this upcoming week. Coming into the week, North Carolina was ranked third, but I'll talk momentarily about their week and the upset that ensued. Houston's coming in fourth, and then to close out the top 5 was Tennessee coming in fifth with a record of 15-5. There's also going to be some movement for Tennessee. Now, as we get into the other aspects of the top 25, there was some movement. Wisconsin has moved up in the Big Ten. They've moved up 7 spots to the 6th ranking in the nation. Duke moved up 5 spots, and Duke is always that team where they might not be top dog, but they're always going to be relatively close. So Duke's moved up 5 spots, and they're ranked 7th. Kansas dropped a spot to number 8. Another Big East team, Marquette, has moved up 5 spots to the number 9th position, and Kentucky closes out the top 10 as they've dropped 4 spots. You can see the remainder of the list there. I won't go through all of those, but once again, back-to-back weeks, the theme for this week was upset. And when I say upset, I'm talking primarily within the top 10 rankings upsets. So ranking upsets that stand out. Number 3, University of North Carolina went into Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech was able to handle them 74-73 final. All the Tech Yellow Jackets fandom stormed the court. You would have thought it was for the national championship. But, teams gear up for those teams from Tobacco Road, when you speak of North Carolina and Duke, teams usually really get up high for them, and their fandoms get up even higher. So that was one of the big upsets this week. Let's see, another top 10 upset. Number 5, Tennessee, was defeated by an unranked South Carolina 63-59. We had University of Florida, those Florida Gators, went into Kentucky, and they derailed the Kentucky Wildcats, who were ranked 10th, 94-91 final. And then to close out top 10 upsets, an unranked Nebraska went into Wisconsin, and they defeated the number 6 Wisconsin Badgers 80-72. So a lot of movement amongst the top 10 for this upcoming week, as you see the top 10 defeats or top 10 upsets. A couple of key matchups for today. It's a great day for college basketball. Number 1, UConn Huskies against St. John's. UConn is led by senior point guard, grad student Tristan Newton, averaging 16 a game, and that should be a really good game. Coach Rick Pitino has St. John's playing pretty well. They're unranked, but I think that's going to be a close game. And the Johnnies are typically that team that they might not be ranked, but real gutsy type of team. A lot of New York kids on that team, and they usually fight until the very end. So that should be a good game. Let's see, number 4, Houston at number 8, Kansas. Houston's led by a phenom point guard in LJ Cryer, who's averaging 15 a game. So look out for LJ Cryer. We have number 7, Duke. This is a Tobacco Road battle. Number 7, Duke at number 3, North Carolina. And that game is always a dandy, looking at long-time rivalries. A great game there. We'll have number 12, Iowa State at number 18, Baylor. And then we close out top 10 play today with number 5, Tennessee at number 10, Kentucky. As mentioned, Tennessee had a tough loss this week, but I'm looking to see Tennessee recover from that loss. And Kentucky had a tough loss within that same vein. So we'll see who's able to recover from said losses and handle their business today. And that's this week's men's college basketball.
All right. Thank you for that, my brother. We definitely appreciate you breaking us down. Have they found the SS Minnow and the UCLA men's team, or are they still
not quite yet?
Okay.
What I will say before we on that point, what I will say about UCLA men's basketball, Coach Cronin, that team has a lot of young talent. They haven't figured out how to put it together consistently, but I really think next season, because this season has gotten away from them, I really think that next season UCLA is going to build off of what they have currently, because they do have some good pieces. They have some pieces to build around, but they just haven't figured out how to do that consistently just yet. So shout out to the Bruins. I watch them closely, and I have not given up on Bruins nor Coach Cronin. Go ahead.
So, quick question for you. You said a lot of young talent, and you look forward to good things next season. So let me ask you a question. Going into the Green Bay Dallas game, who did you think you would have said that about following that game? Lots of young pieces and good pieces, and wait until next year. I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend. Who would you have said that about going into the game?
I'm not doing that, man. I'm not.
It's a question.
No. But your questions, you like to get tricky with these questions where you know what you like to bait me into answering questions. And right now I'm saying, I'm not doing that, man. I was talking specifically about UCLA Bruins men's basketball, since this is our basketball segment, and I'm not going there with you.
Can we see your gnome one more time?
No, we're not even doing that.
Give your gnome applause.
No, because we've already moved on.
You have a Seton Hall gnome?
No, I don't have a Seton Hall. Yeah, I don't have a Seton Hall. I have some Seton Hall gear all over the place, but no gnome. Jerseys and stuff.
I watched the end of a Seton Hall game this week. They lost a close one. I don't remember who they were playing, but they did lose a
Yeah,
close one.
last week was the last week was the tough week. This week was they blew out DePaul by 30 this week. But last week we had a tough back to back week where we were really really close. But you know how it is. Closeness only matters when you're playing horseshoes. And so yeah, it's yeah. Seton Hall's gonna be. I think they're gonna be all right. Shout out to Coach Shaheen Holloway, man.
So listen, we were
Hmm.
both raised here, and
Hmm.
I never played horseshoes, but I imagine that we got this saying from the people who raised us. So mine, I got something similar to Sam's. Mine was a little more violent than Sam. Sam just uses horseshoes. Mine was this, and this is from my grandfather and then my dad. So my paternal side, close only counts in hand grenades and horseshoes, and I guess that's because my grandfather was in the war. Because if you think about it, horseshoes you're close, but hand grenades, like, it don't have to be a direct hit.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I learned at an early age. Close only counts in hand grenades and horseshoes, and then it's like we don't even say hand grenades; we just say grenades, but hand grenades. So I
There you
always
go.
remember the two H's.
Shout out
Um,
to Papa Carter for that one.
there you go. There you go. All right, so we are moving right along, and it's time for the culture. The culture. The culture. The culture. All right, so I'll start it off. Sam runs away with this segment, so I'll start it off by letting us all know that the great Carl Weathers, aka Apollo Creed, and Lando Calrissian.
No, I
Not Lando
thought
Calrissian.
Lando was Billy D.
No, what is it? Yeah, I know. I can't remember what his, because he's in it now, or he was
Hmm.
in it. I can't remember what the name of his. Yeah, Lando was Billy D. I can't remember the name of his current character in all the Star Wars stuff. So, but anyway, he passed away on Friday at age 76, and he was the great Apollo Creed in the Rocky franchise. So rest in peace to Carl Weathers, and prayers to his family and friends. Um, yeah.
It's amazing. So yesterday, when the news broke that he passed away, I went to someone and I said, "Oh my goodness, Carl Weathers passed away," and the person's face was blank, like, "Oh, who was that?" And as soon as I said Apollo Creed, "Oh yes, I know Apollo Creed." So it's amazing how a lot of times actors specifically, when they've played roles that are legendary roles, they're often remembered for their role and not even from their actual name. Because I know I've seen actors, I've been out and seen actors from different films that I've admired, and I draw a blank on what their actual name is, but yet always remember them by their character name. So, as mentioned, prayers out to the Weathers family. May his memory live on. Phenomenal actor and seemed to be a great person, man. It's funny. I just watched Action Jackson a couple of nights ago, so I'm like, yeah. Shout out to that family, and as I said, may his memory live on.
And thank you for that. And his character's name on the Mandalorian is Greek Karga. Grief Karga. So Apollo
Grief, Carter.
Creed to Grief Karga. All right. Take it away, Sam. I am.
All right. So, as mentioned, with the culture, one of the things that I like to bring to you with the culture is some music. Music. How does Missy Elliott say it? Music
New
makes you lose
HD
control.
trilogy.
Music makes you lose control. So, bring some music. So, last week, one of the projects I mentioned was by hip hop artist Buffalo's own Benny the Butcher from the Black Soprano family and Griselda Music Group. And so Benny the Butcher has a new project out, which is called Everybody Can't Go. Everybody Can't Go. For those of you who are hip hop fans, for those of you who are into lyrics and grimy details of what happened, what transpired, pretty much a reflection of life. Benny the Butcher brings just that. Two songs that really stand out on this project for me is one of the songs is called Big Dog, featuring Lil Wayne, and is produced by LA's own Alchemist. So that record there by far is talking about being a big dog, and then the rhyme scheme of said record talks about various types of dogs, and is real creative how both Benny and Lil Wayne put it together over a melodic beat from The Alchemist, who's one of my favorite producers. And he's an MC, but yeah, in this realm, he's producing this song. And then the second song that really stands out is called One Foot In, and it talks about having 1 foot in the game, 1 foot in your hustle. And that song is Benny the Butcher featuring Stove God Cooks. He's another, he's on a lot of different projects with the Griselda Music Group as well. So yeah, those two songs off of this project, I'd say if you're into Benny the Butcher, if you like Griselda, if you're a hip hop fan, I'd say check out Big Dog with Benny the Butcher featuring Lil Wayne, produced by Alchemist, and then check out 1 Foot In, Benny the Butcher featuring Stove God Cooks. All right, now in a completely separate direction, I've mentioned in the past my love for R&B. I absolutely love R&B. If you know me, if you've ever ridden in the car with me, most likely we're doing a little carpool karaoke because I'm jamming on some R&B. So that's what I do. This project is by an artist named Samaria, Samaria. I'm hoping I'm doing her name justice, but it reads like Samaria, or perhaps it's Samaria. She has a project. It's an R&B soul fusion project, and it's called Even Paradise Reigns. The title in itself, Even Paradise Reigns. Two songs that really, really take that project for me to the next level that I've had on repeat. One of them is called Three Rings, and the second song from that project is called Forevermore. Samaria by far is an amazing artist. It sounds like her music is very, very creative, and I'm looking forward to seeing her perform in person at some point because she has a project that is absolutely amazing. So for those of you that enjoy R&B and soul, I would pick up this Even Paradise Reigns project, which is on all streaming platforms. AC, well, I see you had your hand up.
You say I'm too quick to die on heels, and I agree. I'll say when I'm so afraid.
Listen, y'all, that's Three Rings. I haven't even gotten to Forevermore yet, but I'm already in love with Samaria, just from Three Rings. Like the lead in, and then when she dropped the vocals, like it's amazing. And I don't think Sam misses on this. I think that some of us, I just got a text from someone from afar saying, where did Sam find a church version of Benny the Butcher, Everybody Can't Go? And so, Sam, where did you find a church version? Or did you not find a church version and you just listen with tender ears when you're listening to
Brother,
Everybody
that
Can't Go?
version is from the streets. That one has no church in it. That's straight street hip hop raw. Yeah, so no church version there.
Yeah, so Samaria, Even Paradise Reigns. I'm looking forward to listening to that project as I venture through LA County today and then make it back to San Bernardino County. I've got lacrosse at UCLA, and then I've got college basketball in Lancaster. So big day. All right, man.
I will look. I'm going to forewarn you with that project. Listening to that, Even Paradise Reigns, it's going to have you reflecting. It might even have you in your feelings. You know, you have that special someone that's close to you. You're gonna start thinking about that person, man. So that project it's legit, bro. It is legit. Trust me.
I appreciate that. It's gonna have me reflecting. It's gonna have me in a sentimental mood or something. Yeah. Well, let's shout out this guy.
New SG Trilogy.
Shout out to Sam. Shout out to Sam. All right, so we're gonna move on to tech talk now. I guess my mouse is not doing what I needed to do. So today Today on Tech Talk Now, well, first of all, let's do the lead in because Sam would have a fit.
This is Tech Talk Now.
All right, let's get into it. We're gonna go ahead and do Tech Talk Now. All right. All right, so digital assistants, convenience versus privacy. Welcome to Tech Talk Now. I'm your host, AC from LA. Today, we're diving deep into the world of digital assistants and the growing concerns surrounding privacy. Are these AI companions really worth the trade-off? Let's explore this topic in detail. Digital assistants like Siri, Alexa, I'm spelling it because I don't want her to react right now, and Google Assistant have seamlessly integrated into our daily lives, making tasks easier and faster. But behind their helpfulness lies a complex web of data collection. As we interact with these AI companions, they learn about our preferences, habits, and even personal information. However, privacy breaches and data mishandling have cast a shadow over the convenience they offer. From unauthorized access to recordings of our private conversations, there have been alarming instances of privacy violations associated with digital assistants. These incidents raise critical questions about the security of our personal data. The challenge lies in finding a balance between the undeniable benefits of digital assistance and safeguarding our privacy. Tech companies are taking steps to address these concerns, introducing features like improved data encryption, user-controlled data deletion, and enhanced consent processes. Users also play a pivotal role in protecting their own privacy. Understanding the settings and permissions of your digital assistant device is essential. Turning off unnecessary data sharing features and regularly reviewing your digital assistant's activity can minimize exposure to privacy risks. To illustrate the real-world implications, let's consider an example. Imagine you use a digital assistant to control your smart home devices. While it's convenient to adjust the thermostat or light with a voice command, it also means your assistant knows when you're home or away. The data collected can be valuable to advertisers, and I'm all for that because I come from the advertising world, raising questions about who has access to this information. As technology advances, the capabilities of digital assistants will expand further. In the future, they may become even more integrated into our daily routines, from managing smart homes to assisting with medical tasks. Ensuring these advancements prioritize user privacy will be crucial. Ethical considerations play a significant role in the development and deployment of digital assistants. Tech companies need to establish ethical guidelines for data usage, transparency, and user consent. Ensuring that AI systems are designed to respect user privacy should be a priority. Governments worldwide are recognizing the importance of protecting user privacy. We've seen the introduction of data privacy laws like GDPR and CCPA, which hold companies accountable for how they handle user data. These regulations are steps in the right direction, but require continuous monitoring and enforcement. Ultimately, it's essential for users to make informed decisions when using digital assistants. Review privacy policies, consider the trade-offs, and adjust settings to align with your company. Empowering users to have control over their data is a crucial step toward preserving privacy. In closing, while digital assistants offer undeniable convenience, it's equally important to be vigilant about safeguarding our privacy. As users, we must stay informed, make informed choices, and hold tech companies accountable for the responsible handling of our data. Join us as we continue to explore the delicate balance between convenience and privacy in the world of AI companions. This has been another episode of Tech Talk Now, Digital Assistance and Privacy from the Collective Podcast. Thank you for watching.
Another one.
This is Tech Talk Now.
Another one.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, bro.
That's
yeah, bro.
So the interesting thing for me is
from LA.
I believe in digital assistants, and I mostly use Siri on all of my devices, including my Apple TVs, but then Kayla's got two Echoes, and I have the thermostat hooked up to the Echo, which is Alexa. So we talk a lot to Siri and also talk to Alexa. And, I don't have a smart home, but I have a lot of smart devices throughout my home, which makes it a pseudo smart home. And so I use digital assistants quite a bit for a lot of things. But again, I am vigilant about protecting my information. And I think that by and large, Apple does a really good job of staying vigilant as a tech company. But still, I just implore everybody to, not only protect your peace, but protect your privacy in every way, shape, or form.
That's good, man. You did a phenomenal job, brother. Phenomenal. I know I always say this, so it sounds like I'm queued up to say it, but I really find so much value, and I always go back, like after you do deliver this, because it isn't pre-rehearsed, folks. It's not like I know what he's going to talk about, or even if I have a one-liner, I don't know the direction. So to hear you really deliver Tech Talk Now with so much conviction and an understanding of the importance of it, man, it's impressive, and it helps me. Like you give me the Cliff's Notes version, and then I'm able to take that and build upon it and do some additional research. So I appreciate you, brother, for Tech Talk Now. That was an idea that seemed like it came from just, wait a minute, I can really do something with this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, keep up the phenomenal job of Tech Talk Now, man.
Thank you, brother.
Great work. Great work.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I absolutely appreciate that. Let's actually play it one more time because Sam gets really excited. Let's see Sam get excited. Sam, get excited for the people.
Tech Talk Now.
All right, man.
Yeah, man.
Get ready.
Get ready for the closeout.
All right, brother. I'm gonna give you I'm gonna let you feed the ducks. Sam. Well, first of all, tell them where they can find us, and then
All right,
and then close out. So let me pull up your
banner. By now they should know where they can find us. They definitely should know.
Okay.
We should be connected with them. But for those of you that do not know where you can find us, here you go. You can go to our official website at thecollectivepodcastofficial.com, on YouTube, on X or Twitter, and on IG. We are TC Pod Official. We ask that you go to our YouTube official channel and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend. They'll have a great experience joining us here on the Collective Podcast. On Facebook, we are TC Podcast Official. On Instagram, he is AC from LA. And yours truly, I am SG Trilogy. There you go.
All right. Thank you. All right. Well, as I said, let's get ready for the closeout. Sam, close out.
All right. So this week's closeout for me is not complex. It's relatively simple. As we look at our lives in this current environment, we have phones and tablets and so many things that stimulate our minds and our thoughts, which is great. But one thing we can't remember is the importance of taking some time to remove yourself from all of your devices. Take some time to be quiet. Take some time to have quiet time so that you can reflect, you can strategize, you can allow yourself to rest, and you can build from that. But unless you take some time to have some quiet time, you'll never get to that place. Don't feel that you have to be everything for everyone. And so I encourage you all, take some quiet time. If it's a day, if it's an hour, if it's 30 minutes, find your spot to take some quiet time. And when you take quiet time, that is you investing in yourself. So that's it for my closeout, brother.
All right. Well, thank you for that, sir. We absolutely appreciate that from you. And so I guess I'll go ahead and close out now. So here we go. Here we go, yeah. Here we go, yeah. What's yeah, for me, Sam asked, as he often does, or as he always does in the beginning, how my week was. It was a really awesome week, and I had some things materialize this week that I'll tell you guys about in the future. But developments are happening, things are in the works, and I'm losing my words because I'm getting choked up about family. So family is really important, right? And when you wind up in a situation where you're maybe engaged with someone and then you're not, you have a child and they already had a child, and they remain part of your family even if you're not living together. And Kayla's mom, my ex-fiance Brianna, had some bumps this week that I was able to help her through a little bit, and I appreciated the fact that I could be there for her, but then also she was comfortable enough to ask for help. And it's really important to, and now I'm moving on from that, I just wanted to say that it's really important, as I always say, to love on your people, let your loved ones know that you love them, and receive the love from them, and protect your peace at all costs. Like, that is really, really, really important. Like, I'm not moving off of that. Protect your peace at all costs. My daughter is the absolute light of my life, Kayla. She just makes me smile every time that I see her, every time that I talk to her. She has an alarm. It's Alexa. She has her alarm in her room that goes off. Is Olaf, and he says, hands down, this is the best day of my life. So Kayla just texted me while Sam was talking, saying that she was watching a YouTube video, and the clip was there from Olaf saying, hands down, this is the best day of my life. She sent me that text just because, we know that alarm makes us laugh, and she just decided to share that moment with me. So shout out to Kayla. Shout out my family, my loved ones. Shout out to Sam's loved ones. Listeners, viewers, shout out to your loved ones. We here at the Collective Podcast really do appreciate you. This has been episode 133 of the Collective Podcast. We've had a ball. Next week, we're going to be 1 hour early. So by this time, we'll be off the air for a while. So we're going to move it up to 7 Pacific, 9 Central next week, as opposed to 8 and 10. So 7 Pacific, 9 Central next week, same day, Saturday. We're just going to move it up, and then we'll be off within 60 minutes. So that's what we're doing next week. But thank you for coming through for episode 133. Whether you're a viewer watching it live or watching it back, or you're listening to it on the DSPs, we absolutely appreciate you, and we
Get
want
ready
you
for the
to
closeout.
keep coming back. So please do keep coming back. Sam, I thought you did a phenomenal job today. I'm honored to have you here on a weekly basis, and I just wanted to give you a round of applause.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, man. So people, thanks for coming through. We're going to sign off like we always do. Like we always do about this time. Episode 133 of the Collective Podcast. We out of here. Always bounce the pot.